My name's Chris Ewing. I'm the founding owner of Caledonian Braves, which is Scotland's youngest, possibly most ambitious senior football club here in Scotland, playing in the Lowland League. We're trying to do things a little bit differently here in Scotland. As I said, I'm the owner of a football club. I'm very privileged to own a football club, but I'm also quite limited in where I can take the club on my own. And recently I had the idea to open up the football club to the world, actually, and to create a community club that's not based on a geographical community, but based on shared ideas, shared values, and trying to bring people from around the world together, not only to support Caledonian Braves, but actually have a stake in the ownership of the club. Ultimately, as the owner of a Scottish football club, a small Scottish football club here in the west of Scotland, where you have Rangers, Celtic, Motherwell, Hamilton Accies, lots of professional clubs, how do you create a fan base? How do you become financially sustainable? And how do you achieve your goals and ambitions? It's very, very difficult, and it's very complicated. So my idea was to do things differently, become a little bit of a disruptor here in Scotland, and open up the club to ownership around the world. So we put the club on a platform called wefunder, which is actually an American platform, and that allows literally anybody around the world to invest in the club and become an owner of the Caledonian Braves. Since we put the club on the wefunder page, we've had over 850 owners from around the world. We actually have over 30 countries represented in the ownership group. It blows my mind because I'm from working class Glasgow. I had this idea, I had this vision. It's one thing to have an idea and it's one thing to have a vision, but we actually start to see it coming to fruition, and you start to see people investing from Los Angeles, from Nepal, from Lisbon. It just shows you the power of football and what football can do. We have someone who works at the White House. He's the Chief of Staff for the House of Representatives. We have an executive for the New York Giants in the NFL. We have someone who works we have several who work in the NBA or associated with the NBA or basketball clubs. We have professional athletes who play women's soccer in the States. But on the flip side of that, we have regular folk, if you like. I mean, anyone who invests $1 in Caledonian Braves is greatly appreciated because it's somebody putting their hard-earned cash into the club. But for us to reach over $250,000 is absolutely outstanding. It's an amazing achievement, and it's something that I'm very proud of, and I say that with a lot of humility. The reality is it's a football club, it's a business, and the money that comes into the club will be spent wisely. I also believe you have to be intelligent with your ambition. And sometimes when it comes to sport, you can let your heart rule your head, which can be very dangerous. So the idea is to be pragmatic, but the idea is also to involve the owners in where that money gets spent. But the reality is, the more money that we can bring into the club, the more successful we can be on and off the field. For the most part, it's a passion project. People get involved because they love the idea, they love the concept, they love Scotland. That's also something that's very important to us as well. We're trying to showcase the best that is Scotland and the people here in Scotland. But there is a real opportunity to go from Tier 5 in Scotland up to the Premiership. And where the opportunity is exciting on a business level, if you like, is it takes far less investment to go from Tier 5 in Scotland to the Premier League than it would to go from Tier 5 in England, for example, the Premiership, or Tier 5 in France to League 1, or in Italy, or in Germany, or any other major European country. So that's where I think we do have a real opportunity to do something very unique, and ultimately have a lot of fun doing it. So the idea for me when I set up this project was to prove to folk that you don't have to be a millionaire to own a football club. You look at clubs like Newcastle, PSG, state-owned clubs. You look at Wrexham, they've done brilliant. Wrexham obviously with Ryan Reynolds. But the idea is to prove to folk that you don't need to be a movie star, you don't need to be a millionaire. For $100 you also can own a football club, and you can be part of something that goes beyond just sport. You can be part of a worldwide global community. So that for me was really important. So the minimum investment is $100. Some people invested more than $100, and that's great, and it's fantastic. But the idea is just to bring people together through a shared set of ideals and values, and through sport. So if anybody wants to be involved in the club, then they can go on the wefunder website, which is wefunder.com/CBFC, and they can invest, and they can also own part of this small football club. And it's absolutely outstanding to see just how much this small club here in Scotland means to people who live as far afield as Los Angeles, California, or even Australia, and everyone has some kind of affinity already to the club and to Scotland, which is fantastic for us.